Hello, I'm old Mr. Kent, and I'm 82 years old and telling my life story as I ride around on my E-Trike. And if you're new and you want to hear the whole story of my life, you can go at the end of the video. There's a link that says life story, and it'll take you to a playlist of all the videos I've made starting when I was born. I didn't make the videos back then, but you know what I mean. Okay, so anyway, it's a little bit breezy today. I hope that doesn't mess up the microphone. I think we'll be okay. And I'm now up to about 2007, and in the last video, I got a brand new Harley Davidson motorcycle, and it was probably a 2007 model. I'm not sure, but anyway, my wife and I tried to remember, and we're not that good anymore. So we got it, and then of course before that we had a 1981 Harley, which was full of vibration and everything. So when we got this new one, we went for a lot of little rides, and we just had, she liked it so much. I got several pictures of her when I would get off the bike, and then she'd be standing there by it, and I'd take her picture. So anyway, so here comes the truck, and there's a breeze. So then we finally decided we would go on a camping trip with our Harley. And of course, one of the favorite spots she likes to go to is the ocean, and that would be that campground I talked about last time, beachside. So that was part of the plan, and then we were going to go further down the Oregon coast, and then turn inland and go through eastern Oregon, and then head north and go up and visit her mom. But we were going to camp. It was going to be a camping trip, and so we went out to Cabela's and bought some special lightweight sleeping bags that we could carry on the bike that would roll up so small that was easy to put two of them on the back of the tour pack, plus all kinds of other little trinkets that you would need when you're camping out. And so we decided, okay, I think we're ready to go. So on one day, I think she was still working, so we had to get a vacation time. And so we took off from Spokane, Washington, and I wanted to make sure we traveled on back roads instead of freeways, so it was a more enjoyable trip anyway. And so we headed east out of Spokane instead of south, which was where the freeway went. Went through, well, if you're familiar with Washington, we went through Waterville, and then we came down to George, which was further south. And George is where we had to actually get on the freeway again to cross the bridge over the Columbia River. And at the Vantage, if you're from Washington, Vantage Bridge. And then we had to go up on the freeway a little longer and then get off to go to Yakima. And there was a back road I always liked to take, but when we went to take it, it was closed. So we had to take the freeway over to Yakima. And then finally, we got away from the freeway. And so out of Yakima, we went to, boy, I can't remember that town. I'll get it in a minute here. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, so you go out of, and here comes another dog or two. Anyway, so we go out, and when we turned off onto Highway 12. Yes, I'd stop and pet you, but I'm busy right now. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, so took Highway 12, which took us up over White Pass. And I remember we were just having a great time. We got to White Pass, and then we stopped there for a break, and it was cold up there on White Pass. Apparently, as I don't remember the time, apparently it was before summertime. Excuse me. So anyway, so we stopped up there and had a break, and then we went on down off the pass, and then if you're familiar with it, we went to Packwood, and then on over. And there's a town called Longview, Washington, which if you go there, well, then you can cross over. If you want, you can cross over the Columbia and get onto the Oregon side, or we just rode down the Washington side all the way down to Ilwaco. So if you don't understand what I'm talking about, just figure we went from the northeast corner of the state of Washington to the southwest corner of the state of Washington. And we used back roads as much as we could. We used back roads. And so we went to Ilwaco, and then they call it the peninsula because there's Gray's Harbor over there. And so we went up the peninsula to visit because my wife had a very good friend that lived in Oysterville, and then I had a cousin that lived in the area of Ocean Park, and so that was all up on the north end of that peninsula, and so we went up and visited her friend, and we got we took way too much time, and we were supposed to have dinner with my cousin and her husband, and we were late getting there. But anyway, and by the way, it started raining when we got there. It had rained a little bit here and there, but it started raining seriously. So I parked my Harley in his garage, and went in, had dinner, visited, and then the next morning we headed south. We took the Astoria Bridge and crossed the Columbia down into Oregon, and then we just followed the Highway 101 that goes down through along the Oregon coast, and go by Seaside and all those fancy tourist traps. And we went down, and there's another town called Longview that is in Oregon, and it's right there on the beach as you're going down. And so went through Longview, and then just a few miles, I think 17 more miles down, was where we had reserved a campsite at Beachside. And now this time it didn't cost us as much because we were going to camp out. And so we got there and checked in and set up our tent and got our sleeping bags out and put them in the tent and got all nice and settled. I don't think we may have started a fire. I don't know, because I don't remember doing that. And it was probably late in the day by the time we got there. So I wish I had a better memory. And by the way, on this trip, the one thing we forgot on this trip was that we were in our 60s. And so we're all, enjoying ourselves. And then, of course, when we took our RV, which we still had the RV, when we took our RV, if we needed to go to the restroom, we just got up, went to the restroom, came home, or came back to bed. But if you're camping out at Beachside, you have to get up, get dressed, and hike over to the restroom, we expected that, but it was a real inconvenience. So that's one of the things that became. And then also, during that first night that we were camping, we were frozen. We were cold. Those lightweight sleeping bags that we bought were definitely lightweight. I don't know what people would use them for unless they're in a hot climate. But anyway, so we got through the night, and then next morning we got up, and we kept our campsite because we're going to be there another night. So we got up, and we needed to go to breakfast, so we rode the 17 miles into Longview, and we went to the Longview Cafe, which they knew us there because we go there every time we went to the Oregon coast. I'm going to get around this guy here. Morning. Anyway, so they knew us, actually, remembered us and everything, because we always go there. And then we met another couple there that was on their motorcycle, and I don't remember much about that, but it was kind of a fun visit. And so we had our breakfast, and then we decided, you know, we got to get something warmer for tonight, because we just froze to death. Well, not to death, but we froze like we were gonna. It was very uncomfortable, hard to sleep and everything. And not only that, like I said, we forgot we were in our 60s, and my wife had a real, she needed a pillow, which we didn't have. And so we went to Walmart, and we bought 2 more sleeping bags. And I can't remember if we bought, anyway, it doesn't matter. So we got 2 more sleeping bags, and when we went to bed that night, we got into 2 sleeping bags, and that kept us nice and warm, so we slept pretty well. And and so that all turned out well. And so I can't remember, I think probably we left that morning instead of sticking around, because there wasn't all that much to do, and just, you know, the 2 of us. And so we went down to Florence. You go further south, and you get to Florence. And I think down at Florence, we stopped to have breakfast. So I can't remember. It was a restaurant, and I mean, don't remember much about it. We weren't very familiar with Florence, and so excuse me. So we got our breakfast there and everything, and then that's where we made our direction change and started heading east, up over the Cascade Mountains and into eastern Oregon. And so that was a nice ride. I can't remember all the towns we went through, and I don't remember the highway number. Maybe I can put it in edit later, but anyway, I think we got a car coming. Then I'm going to turn around. Anyway, so all right. So we headed east, and we went along, and we had planned on stopping at different campgrounds. I got to stop and let this guy by. We had planned on camping at different campgrounds. Okay, here we go. But we weren't all that enthused about camping. And so, believe it or not, we got up to Sisters, Oregon, and boy, the wind is really getting me in the face now. Anyway, so we got to Sisters, and that's where we stayed, and I was able to get a picture off the internet of the Sisters Motor Lodge. When you stay there, you have your own like little cabin, and it's attached to all the other cabins. But and that motor lodge or motel was built in 1939, so it had a history, and it was kind of interesting staying there. And so and we got a good night's rest. We needed a good night's rest. That was perfect for people in their 60s. So anyway, then next morning we got up, we headed further east and headed across to eastern Oregon, and we stopped here and there to look at different interesting things. Like there was this one place where they had a miniature town and like a street of an old west, and you could walk along and look at that. Plus you could buy their gadgets they had for sale, souvenirs. And so that was interesting. Plus we saw a lot of really good sights and everything, riding along on that nice Harley. So I'm dodging holes here. So we got to John Day, Oregon, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but John Day, Oregon is where you can actually turn north and head up towards Washington. So we took the turn, and we were just taking our time and enjoying the Harley ride. And so we got up to I guess we got up as far as Pendleton, and it was about time to camp out. And so we found another motel. It was a kind of a strange thing, because they wanted us to park our motorcycles down in the lower part, so they gave us apartments down in there. They didn't want our motorcycles sitting out in front, so that was okay. We were bad bikers, you know. So anyway, boy, the wind is really picking up here. So anyway, we we stayed there that night, and I wish I still had some pictures I took, because we had to get some of those black plastic bags that you put leaves in, stuff like that, although they weren't quite so big. But anyway, we had 2 bags tied on the back of the bike because we had, 4 sleeping bags now and so forth. So we left, and we actually went over to Lewiston, Idaho, and there we visited with my wife's mom. And so we visited with her. I don't know, we might have stayed there that night, I'm not sure. But and then we headed home, and turns out we actually rode about 1,600 miles on our new Harley and enjoyed every minute of it. Well, all the minutes except the middle of the night on the first night, which made us change our mind about camping. Because like I said, when we planned this trip, we forgot all about one thing, and that's that we were in our 60s. And so it just wasn't, we didn't have the stamina or whatever, because when we went on our honeymoon, we camped out 2 different places without a tent and everything, just sleeping bags. So anyway, probably 1 sleeping bag back then. Anyway, so that was our big trip on the Harley Davidson. We never made another trip that long, although we did. I'll tell you some stories in the next video. We made other trips that took us a long ways, but we didn't do any camping out or anything like that. So with all the wind blowing in my face, I'm hoping this is coming through okay. I want to thank you for watching my video, and God bless.